Welcome back, my pack, my tribe, to Howling After Dark. Oh, my pack. Oh. Another thing that absolutely, without a doubt, infuriates me. And I kind of blame TV shows for this. It's provoking. I've long, for a long time, have had this stance that if it is not something you would say to someone you don't even really know in their own home, don't fucking say it. I mean, yeah, you're dealing with spirits, but people seem to forget that spirits were once people too. You know, and just like people, you don't walk into somebody's house going, "Why do you try to fucking scare me? Do something." I promise you, if you tried to fucking do shit like that in my house, I would do something. I'd fucking shoot you. And then these numbnuts fucking wonder why all this negative shit is happening. Well, duh. Somebody comes into my fucking house acting like a moron, I'm gonna fuck with them too. Provoking is absolutely unnecessary. All you need to get evidence, honestly, in 3 years that we have been a team, we have never once walked away from an investigation without evidence to show for it. Not one fucking time. And the reason that we can say that, all of it has to do with our approach. First of all, just like I'm sure your own grandparents have said at some point, you can catch more flies with honey. It's absolutely fucking true. If you treat spirits with respect, they're going to be a little more apt to fucking communicate with you. We got spirits that not only want to communicate with us, we've got spirits that are calling us by name, collectively as Ghost Report Paranormal, and then calling each of us separately by name in fucking places we have not even been to yet. They know us, and the reason they know us, it all has to do with our approach. We don't have to go in there being a bunch of fucking ignorant assholes. We just go in there and go, "Hey, look, we're just here to communicate, yada, yada, yada." And then we use whatever bits of the fucking history we can find out, and voila, evidence. There's no need for all this fucking bullshit. And that's what it is. It's fucking bullshit. And it's time we fucking start calling it that. It's bullshit. Aw, love you too, Reagan. She said, "Love you, Jane," chat. Reagan's my cousin, so that's good. And she's one of our most invaluable investigators. In fact, I just recently made her one of our co-founders for the group. Which, I guess co-founder is kind of like the wrong word, now that I think about it, because co-founder kind of means that you founded it together, and there's got to be another word. It's more like I'm the chief, because, like, I'm in charge of it all, I formed it all, it's my baby. So she'd be kind of like a war chief, I guess. Just to kind of put it in tribal terms. Anywho, um, oh yeah, that's true. Reagan just said in chat, she said, ever since she joined, every time we walk away, we get shit. And she says, Jay, they follow us to protect us. They're like going ghost hunting too. Well, that's true, actually. And I know the spirits that she's referring to. One of them we think is her guide, this spirit named Paul, who follows us around all the time. And lately there's been a little boy named Jonah. Um, but no, I was referring to like spirits we haven't even met yet. I already know who we are. Um, a friend of mine out in Utah just did an investigation, in fact, at the Fear Factory, and he got an EVP of the spirit saying Ghost Wolf. And yeah, so definitely awesome stuff. That she says she's HR. That's kind of true. She sort of is. Like this website we're on. Everybody in chat right now. This website, the the chat and everything. She did all this. This was all her. I had actually very little uh, to contribute to this whole web page aside from uh, a few things here and there. Most of it's her. So yeah, if you need like a web designer, hit up Reagan. She might be able to help you. Of course, between kids and work and everything, she might be busy, but asking never hurts. Anywho, yeah, so provoking is totally unnecessary. It's bullshit, and it's a practice that needs to stop. Because actually, what it does in a lot of cases is it makes things worse. It really does, and see, I kind of wish that there was a way that I could give everybody my site, because I see them. I know how they act in different situations, and I think if you could see how they actually react to people provoking, I think you would probably stop doing it. Because it's sometimes humorous, but oftentimes heartbreaking. Because you got to understand something. These are people that like were like you and I. These are just normal people who just happen to die at some point, and their spirit is still around. And you're talking down to them and saying a bunch of fucking random hurtful bullshit, trying to get them to, be active around you. That's not the way to fucking do it. It just isn't. It's fucking stupid. Flat out, it's fucking stupid. And as much as I like Ghost Adventures, I really kind of blame them for like this whole trend of provoking. EVP's kids and work. That's what Reagan said. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, please, people, if you want to know how to actually do an investigation, like a successful one, like the way that we do it, contact us. We will gladly set up a ghost hunt with you so that you can see how we do it. Because I promise you, provoking is absolutely unnecessary. In fact, it more than anything, in my experience, it actually impedes you getting evidence than it does anything. Um, so yeah, just shit to keep in mind. Oh, that was the other thing that Evan Jensen was claiming, by the way, that I happen to know for a fact is absolute bullshit. Um, in that article that, for whatever reason, I can't find now. Um, he was claiming that he was like an understudy for the Warrens, and I happen to know the Warrens, and I know for a fact that that's bullshit because they've never trained anybody. Everybody they have ever worked with, you know, uh, even back in the days when the actual Conjuring case happened, everybody they worked with was a specialist in a different field. And I don't remember all their names, but you know what I mean. Like the one guy that was a cop, like he was an expert investigator. That's why he was there, because he could think like an investigator does. And but everybody they worked with was an expert in their own field, in kind of a standalone investigator in their own right. So this guy saying that he was trained by the Warrens is absolute fucking bullshit. I actually worked with the Warrens once. Well, I did a case with them, one case, but it was an honor. It was, and I don't even know if they would remember me, because even then I was kind of a kid, but I was already an expert in what it is that I do. I'm not just a paranormal investigator of 25 years. I'm a shaman. Well, I actually prefer the term medicine man, but it's the same thing. Um, and they were doing a case dealing with Native American spirits, and it was in an area that I happen to live in, so I was kind of the local guy. And they called me, and I of course had heard about them. And this was back in the day when like there really was no TV shows. There really wasn't like popular culture at all back then. It was just like word of mouth, but they, even then, they were like kind of famous, in a way, and mainly because of the Amityville case, uh, which did quite a bit for their career, to be honest. But they, contacted me, and I went in there and dealt with it, and that was like the one occasion I got to work with them, and it was good. And like I said, I doubt they would even remember me, but I've made it a point to know about them. And one thing I know is they don't teach people, because what they do, you can't teach it. You can't fucking teach it. And I don't agree with everything that they say, because they're demonologists. They believe that spirits are demons. Period. And I don't agree with that. I never have. But I definitely respect them enough to sit here and say that anybody claiming that they were trained by the Warrens is talking out of the side of their fucking neck. Because it's absolutely untrue. So I just wanted to state that for the record. Okay, continuing on with tonight's show. Another thing that fucking pisses me off to no fucking end. Oh my god. Ugh. Oh my god. I can't still like I've been on the air for like 2 years now doing the show, and I can't believe that I still have to talk about this shit. But it fucking pisses me off to no fucking end when people attribute the negative to things without doing their due diligence. Give you an example of what I'm talking about. There was an episode of My Ghost Story, I believe it was. It might have been Paranormal Witness. It was one of the two. But it was like a My Ghost Story kind of show, for sure. And there was an episode where it was this black family, and what I'm pissed about has nothing to do with the fact that they're black. I could fucking care less. Um, I've yelled at white people and every other race in between. It doesn't fucking matter to me what color you are, because assholes come in every shade and color there is. But anyways, I digress. But in this episode, it just happened to be a black family, and I was pissed, but it was almost funny at the time when I saw it. But there was this episode. It was a black family, and this lady was telling the story about how she was going around her house taking pictures, and she caught this picture of an orb, which they actually showed on TV. Okay? Now, I've seen a lot of orbs. I follow the 98% rule that every single orb is explainable except for that rare 2%. Right? So I take one look at this orb and I can see plain as day that it's a fucking dust orb. That's all it is. It's dust. But she's on this episode of the show. It was a demon and blah blah blah. Shut the fuck up. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about. Is ascribing negativity to things without doing your due diligence, because that is so fucking damaging. You don't even realize. Like, let's say that there's a good-natured, good-hearted spirit that might be doing a few things to try and get your attention, right? And you jump to the conclusion that it's evil, it's a demon, blah, blah, blah. Do you realize how heartbreaking and frustrating that must be for the spirit? Look, I don't give a shit, really, about the living very much. I don't. I'm just being honest. I don't. Aside from my pack, my family, my tribe, I don't really give a shit. That's just the facts. I'm not a big people person. Spirits, however, I've had long-lasting, great, absolutely fantastic experiences with spirits. I actually live in an apartment right now with 3 spirits that live in my basement. And I could tell you all about them. I could tell you their whole story. And I could even back it up with historical data. But part of the reason why I have this great relationship with them is I didn't first experience them and go, oh, well, that's a demon or that's something negative. I mean, think about this. How would you feel as a living person? Somebody coming into your home, uninvited, mind you, and yelling that you're a demon in your face. Kind of the same reaction. But spirits don't. You gotta understand something, okay? And this is a point I've tried to make a lot over the years. And people are gonna believe whatever the fuck they're gonna believe, and I can't change anybody's mind. I can only hope to open it. But one thing I can tell you is that people don't stop being fucking people just because they're dead. People do not like to be bullied or talked down to. And when you provoke, that's exactly what you're fucking doing. And when you're ascribing negativity to things that aren't even negative, that's what you're fucking doing. And I'm not saying that the negative things don't exist. Trust me, I know they do. I've dealt with them 431 times and never had to be called back to cleanse a house. So I know that they're there. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that at least a good 80% of the shit that people ascribe negativity to are not even fucking negative at all. What they are is simply a spirit trying to get your attention. And if you would just let go of your fear and your pride and communicate with these things, you would not only have a much more peaceful life, you would have spirits around you that would watch your back. Think about how powerful that is for a second. To have spirits around you that will fight for you. You'll never have to worry about anything negative ever again. Reagan says in chat that I can use her experience as an example. That's actually a good one. See, Reagan is my cousin, but we didn't know that when we first met. The only thing we knew is that we were kind of kindred spirits, so to speak. But when we first met, we actually met on another radio show, Darkness Radio with Dave Schrader, who you may know from Ghost Adventures and all that. He was doing a show, and we were in chat, and she had brought up that she had seen a shadow in her house, and she was kind of doing that. She was sort of ascribing it, like putting it on in a negative light, you know. But she was new to all this. She didn't know, so I pointed out to her that just because it's a shadow doesn't make it evil. What a shadow actually is, and this I can state as a fact. I mean, you can believe me or not. I can't prove it. I just know what I've seen. But most shadow figures are the same thing as an apparition. It just takes them less effort or energy to become a shadow than it does to, say, become a fully detailed, full-bodied apparition. But it gives them the same effect that they can show themselves without having to exert too much energy. That's basically what a shadow figure is. Now, that's not to say there aren't shadow things that are dark and negative and all that, but most of the time, that's not what you're dealing with. so, I was pointing that out to her, and we got to talking about it, and she started talking about moving here to Ohio. That she was in Pennsylvania at the time, and you know, she started getting really into it and started communicating with this thing and got the name Paul. And that's the only thing it would say over and over again is Paul, 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 Paul. And then yeah, she says it the first time. I think that was the first time, right? She says she was paralyzed, like a sleep paralysis kind of thing. But it was more than that, which we know now for certainty because Paul's still around. Sorry, I had to get a drink. And so, I kind of put her at ease about the whole thing, and then over probably like a couple months of talking about things, she moved here, and then she went on a ghost hunt with us, and it just clicked, and she ended up on the team before we knew it, and built this website for us, and you know, now we're at a point, like I don't even think it's been a year actually since she's been here, but we're at a point now where like we couldn't, I don't think we could do this without you, honestly. Um, but the things we know now are a lot different than where she was at like a year ago or however long ago, and because she was afraid of it originally, and now she's not only not afraid of it, she's comfortable. She's aware of Paul, and Paul's around all the time, and we think that Paul's actually like her spirit guide, or one of. I kind of have suspect that Jenna, this little kid, might be another one. Um, but it'll take more investigation on that to know for sure. So, now I don't have a problem with people saying, well, something's negative as long as they've done their due diligence. What I mean is like, don't just do an investigation and get maybe just a couple pieces of evidence and say, oh, well, it's a demon. Do more than that. Do more than that. Look at the entire history, first of all. Then look at its behavior. Then back it up with several pieces of evidence, even doing multiple investigations of the same place before you label something, because it only makes sense really to like do your due diligence, and I don't understand why so-called paranormal investigators don't fucking do that. They just jump to fucking conclusions, and it's bullshit. No, it's not Paul's team. It's my team. Yeah, but we have got that EVP. She said, "Oh, Jay, but remember this is Paul's team." Um, Paul says it's his team, and I kind of allow it because he's always there. But yeah, really, it's our team, and Paul is kind of a part of that. So it's not just my team. It's not just Reagan's. It's our team. We're a pack. We're a tribe. And yes, I'm the alpha, but like an alpha alone is still a lone wolf, and I don't do lone wolf so well. But I digress. The other fucking thing that fucking annoys me to no end. And this kind of goes back to the whole provoking thing, is like people see shit on TV and then think they know what to do. I remember a time, and this is maybe just me, but I do remember a time when the paranormal community, before all these TV shows, was a bunch of people who were more than capable of thinking for them fucking selves. And now it's like flooded with these fucking numbnuts that do shit just because they saw it on TV, because they don't have an original thought in their fucking head. That annoys me. But my pack, my tribe, the thing that probably gets my goat more than anything else is how yeah, sorry. Reagan just said something in chat that, going back to the whole Paul thing. She says, I learned a lot, something I thought was so evil and out to get me, afraid to be in my room. Paul is the one who's always around to make sure not only me, but we are all good, and will give us info when we need it. That's absolutely true. So, yeah. But, no, going back to what I was saying, and this kind of goes back to the whole TV thing too, and the TV shows, don't get me wrong, have done a lot of good. They've definitely brought attention to the paranormal world, and that's a good thing. But I'm so sick and tired of people concentrating on these locations that have been on TV. Do you realize there are places that have never been investigated? Some of them are probably in your own fucking backyard. I've done an entire web series based on this fact, Forgotten Ghost Towns. And these places are haunted beyond any of these famous places. Really, I mean, they are. And so, like you say Mansfield, to me, I think about the old gas company or the fire museum. Most people think about the reformatory, or maybe the Bisman building. And while those locations are great, and I don't want to take anything away from them, I'm sick of that shit. Because people are failing to see the shit that is untouched by other teams in their areas. It fucking pisses me off to no end. Like I love these people, don't get me wrong. There's actually another group I'm friends with called Crew of Darkness Paranormal. Bless them. But almost everything they ever post about on Facebook has to do with the reformatory, and it drives me fucking insane. Because the reformatory is not the only thing in Mansfield. The Bisman building is not the only thing in Mansfield. There are places everywhere just begging to be investigated. Ghost towns are rich with that haunted history. And that's just one example. There are 250 registered ghost towns alone in the state of California. That's only the registered ones. There's probably twice that many in Texas. And the sad fact is, if we spent more time paying attention to these places, we would probably save a lot more of them. In the state of Ohio, there are over 180 registered ghost towns, and most of them are no longer standing. Most of them, if there's anything left at all, aren't much more than like the remains of a support post or a, a cellar hold. You know, it's as simple as that. And that's fucking sad. One of the places we're going to end up going to, that is going to be on our calendar here shortly, is a place called Rogues Hollow. And what's sad is it was unlike any other town in Ohio because it was the easternmost Wild West town. It lived up to its name. It was home to robbers and thieves and gunslingers and gamblers. It was known in its time as the easternmost part of the Wild West. And none of that is left standing today. The buildings are no longer there. The only thing to even indicate that there was anything there at all are signs that tell you where the buildings were. And that's more than most of the ghost towns in Ohio. That is incredibly sad. It's our own history is disappearing because we're ignoring it. Because it hasn't been on TV. So it's not as important. You know, I long for a day when there is no more TV. I really do. Like, it's ridiculous. I'm a big TV watcher too. Like, I love my shows. Don't get me wrong, but I think that there's not enough people out there that think for themselves. Is basically what it boils down to, and because of that, all these places are getting ignored. The only reason Bannock, Montana, one of the best ghost towns in the entire country, even gets attention, honestly, is because it was on an episode of Ghost Adventures. That's it. There are over 200 ghost towns that are still standing in Montana. And I gotta say, I love my Montana. I do. Because they are one of the only states that not only protect their ghost towns, they make them national parks or state parks. So not only do they keep them going, they're protected and therefore maintained. And a lot of their ghost towns look like they were kind of built yesterday. Reagan says, haha, Jay, you know the good places, let me tell you. You know where I want to go back to? The old gas company. Until this last investigation there, she'd never been there before. And, she only had my word about it. And we went there, and it was the most active I've ever seen it. Like, that's been happening in a lot of places recently. Is a lot of the activity wherever we go is heightened. I think it's, and a lot of people might say, well, it's because you bring them with you, la 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 la. I don't agree. I think what it is we are building a reputation not only in the living world but in the supernatural one. And I think it's getting around that, hey, these guys are cool. They're not going to yell at you. They're not going to do any of this shit. They just really want to talk to you and they really care. And then, of course, they're going to come and try and find us or whatever. So, that's what I think about it. But Reagan says, "Hey, I live for supernatural," and I don't think she's talking about the show, although the show's cool too. But I think she's referring to the paranormal, because the honest fact of the matter is you should. No, really, you should. It has a way of getting into your blood, and I think for me, part of it has to do with the fact I'm from a shamanic bloodline, and being a shaman or a medicine man, whatever you want to call it, right there alone, you already have a special relationship with the spirits around you. I mean, that's kind of the whole gig right there. And so, add into the fact that I can see them and all this stuff, and it's made my life interesting, let me tell you. I don't think I would know any other way to live, to be honest about it. I don't think I could. I definitely could not be a Christian. And not that I'm bagging on Christians. Please understand, I'm not bagging on religion. There are things about that religion that I don't agree with, and yeah, I've been very vocal about that, but I'm not bagging on Christians themselves. Okay, but I think that they do a disservice to themselves in a lot of ways because they don't have this kind of relationship with the spirit world. They kind of deny it in a way, and I think that's kind of sad. But that's just me. Um, so yeah, I do take it really personally when someone or something is doing something not kosher in the paranormal community. I take it hard, and I take it personally, and I take it, you know, to the extreme because I won't never be the guy that just sits back and lets shit happen when I know that I could do something about it. That's why tonight I was kind of sticking up for Mr. Goldinger because I don't believe the shit being said about him, first of all, and second of all, I know him, and third of all, I don't like bullies and never have, living or dead. But I'm definitely passionate about the paranormal world, the spirit world, and I will defend it until my dying breath. And then they'll come back as a ghost and defend it then too. So just know, as long as I am around, I will protect my paranormal world. And I don't give a shit who you are. Because if you fuck with the paranormal, you're fucking with me. Alright, folks, that's about all the time I've got. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tune in Wednesday night. It's gonna be good. Gonna be all about Sasquatch. Gonna be awesome stuff. It's gonna be about Sasquatch, and it's gonna be about some other cryptids too. But yeah, some new stuff about Bigfoot has come to light, so that's